What's going on, everybody? So now that the football season is here, I can officially say that we will now have Browns After Dark Sunday night, Monday night, and if that is not enough for you, we got another one on Thursday. So if you've ever said to yourself, hey, I wonder where I can meet with people and talk about the Browns, that is the place for you. Check us out at Browns After Dark on Twitter. The link will be in the description down below. Times will also be posted on that Twitter page, so be sure to give us a follow, turn on your notifications, and come let us know what you think. We want to know your thoughts, so I'm looking forward to seeing you there. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Browns Beat podcast. It has been a hot minute. And I know, listen, first things first, I want to apologize because I've had, I shouldn't say people, one person, thank you, I forget who you are, recognize that I haven't been doing anything. Listen, me and Tristan have both just been insanely busy. And as far as the other stuff I do too, like, you got to understand with it, in Tristan's job as well, we were just talking about it, like it just consumes our life. And my job, specifically in these lovely holiday times, it's been like 2 months of just hell. Like, that's just what it's been. So listen, I apologize. I'm sorry that, we can't do this all the time. And also, we have like 2 unreleased podcasts because YouTube wanted to suck and wouldn't let me upload. So it's not an effort of not trying, I should say. So we're going to try to get back to it. Things are settling down. We'll get into it. But Tristan, how was your Christmas? How are you doing?
Christmas was good, man. I'm doing all right. Doing good. Just staying busy like we were talking about. Man, it feels like it's been forever. Holy crap. But no, it's been great. I want to, and I didn't tell you I was going to do this because I want your live reaction on the podcast.
Oh, no.
I got a Christmas present from my mother. Okay. So this is it. All right. So you're going to say, what the fuck is this, right? So it says "Win Damn It" on the back. And then there's this little thing right here. And so this is the Damn It doll. All right. And so it says,
okay.
So this is how it goes. Okay. When your team's getting creamed and you just want to scream, here's a Win Damn It doll that you can't do without. Just grab it firmly by the legs and find a place to slam it. And as you whack the stuffing out, yell, "Win, damn it, damn it." So
I need to get one of those ASAP.
So from now on, whenever I'm hitting my table talking about Joe Woods' shitty defense, it's going to be all right, guys. Because I'm tired of ripping out my headphones. I'm tired of it. I gotta switch it up. But yeah, so that's pretty much how my Christmas went. Got a lot of work with that Saints game. So
I just find it funny. So far on this channel, we have 2 gimmicks. We have the win, what you just got, and we have Tony's perverted banana that he loves to do weird things with while we record. So I prefer yours much better because, at least let's just say Tony's been busy, right? He's been busy being a mall Santa, it is what it is. But anyway, so sorry, Tony. Tony's just catching stray bullets for no reason here.
Right.
So kind of in what we've just talked about with us being busy, I told Tristan before we hit record here, I've not been able to watch the past 3 Cleveland Browns football games. And I haven't really been able to catch highlights. So I can't really talk a ton about what the on the field product has been. So we're going to leave that up to Tristan. But before we do, we have some topics that I think we should talk about. We'll get into here. One of them, this kind of caught me by surprise. And Tristan, I believe it caught you by surprise.
Oh, yeah.
The Browns have signed Jack Conklin to a 4-year, $60 million extension, 31 guaranteed, going to be with the Browns through 2026. Listen, I was at work, obviously, as we always are.
Yeah.
But I just so happened to be in the back, and I checked my phone, and it just like with the Donovan Mitchell news, right? Remember I told you I was at work, I kind of looked at my phone and then brushed it off, and then I kind of realized what happened after I started walking away. Same thing. I was like, oh, we extended Jack Conklin. And I started walking. I was like, wait, we extended Jack Conklin. What? Like, it just got me so by surprise. So, Tristan, what's your reaction to this?
Same thing as you. When I first found out, it was big time. Like, whoa! Like, I was not expecting this. I think every Browns fan had prepped themselves for, okay, Jack Conklin's gonna walk, and James Hudson's gonna be the starting right tackle next year. I think everybody thought that, just because with the cap space available to us, and just James Hudson's been good. Like, he's been good. He's shown flashes that he deserves to have an opportunity to start. And so I think for us, it was like, whoa, this is like a big like wrench in the plans. I mean, I can't I was really just shocked that Andrew Berry wasn't going to let one of his draft picks have an opportunity to start. Like, he's pretty much forced Jacob Phillips into that role. He's, Greg Newsome, although he was a higher pick than James Hudson, albeit, like other picks like that, he's pretty much kind of pushed him into being starters right away. And so it's odd to see him kind of, make a move like this. That's pretty much going to put his guy on the bench, unless and this was the second thing that hit my mind when the Conklin extension hit, is James Hudson going to be trained to play left tackle? Because I know it's been a big talking point with us. It's been a big talking point with Browns Twitter. Jedrick Wills is just not the ideal guy. And I'll get more into that in a bit. I think we'll kind of lead into that, because I want to talk about the main guy, Jack Conklin, which hit my mind third. Believe it or not, even though he was on extended. Listen, what do we know about Jack Conklin? When he's healthy, and when he's, when he's healthy, he's one of the best in the game at the right tackle spot. The question with him is just, can he stay healthy? And is he able to, even when he's slightly injured, be able to play at an elite level? Is it a little bit of a risk? Sure. I do think it is a bit of a risk. But at the end of the day, Jack Conklin's a guy who, he wants to be here. He wants to be here. He's truly, like, when I look at that offensive line and I look at the guys that gel together, he's one of them. He's one of the guys there. And I think the signing is more so, like, yes, because he's talented. But I think even more because he's a guy that wants to be here. He's a guy that wants to lift this team up and help this team win. And for me, that's what the signing represented, was us retaining a guy who wants to be here, who's a good football player. When over the past decade, since 99, when have we been able to say that good football players have wanted to be Cleveland Browns? And he said it. He wants to be Cleveland Brown for the rest of his career. And that for me is awesome. It's really awesome. And if Jack Conklin is a Brown for the rest of his career, that's awesome. I really, really love that, because, we've had Joe Thomas do that. And outside of him, I struggle to think of names. So, it's really refreshing to see it. It kind of just shows where the direction of the organization is going, in my opinion. And I just couldn't be any prouder to say, hey, this guy actually wants to be here, and he's a good quality right tackle. Like, lots of teams were hoping he was hitting the free agent market this offseason, and they had his name circled. Like, a lot of teams, and a lot of tweets that I saw afterwards were, damn, I was really hoping Conklin would have went to free agency, and he didn't, which is great for us. Derek, what do you think, man? What do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of complicated for me, because a lot of what you said is 100% truthful, in the sense that Jack Conklin has been very, very good. You got to remember, when the Browns signed him, it was being signed to an offensive line that was absolutely atrocious, like just bottom of the barrel, terrible. And he came in, and I thought he played very well. And so far this season, he's second in sacks allowed. So it's good, and I love a lot of what Jack Conklin does, but I'm very, very concerned about this, Tristan. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm very concerned about this because the way I kind of see this here is, and I wrote it out because a lot of times I need to visualize things. Right now, the Browns have Joe Bitonio at left guard locked up, Wyatt Teller at right guard locked up, and now Jack Conklin at right tackle locked up. Center position is going to be an easy one because, listen, I shouldn't say easy, but center's a position that you can fill with duct tape and it'll work. Go ahead.
Oh, no, it's just, I mean, Ethan Postage couldn't make it on the Seahawks starting line, and he comes to the Browns. He's in between two of the best guards in the game, and he's instantaneously one of the top 5 centers in the league. So, yeah, just kind of hammering your point. We don't need, J.C. Tretter was an amazing Brown, and I thank J.C. Tretter for his service, but it was kind of excess that we didn't necessarily need because we had those two guys that were amazing next to him. But go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, so you have Bitonio, Tretter, and Conklin now locked up. And to that point, I mean, you still have Nick Harris on the roster. He unfortunately got hurt. Ethan Positz has been great, beyond great. I think he could be a guy that you could keep around cheap if you wanted to. But nevertheless, you can get centers in the draft late who can play very well. You don't need to draft a center in the first, second, third round. You can get a guy in the 4th round, and kind of like what they did with Nick Harris. I mean, we expected him to come in and start, injury happens and, things unfold how they do, but I'm not worried about center at all, right? Center is just not a position I'm going to lose sleep over. But getting into the conversation here that's kind of a little bit deeper, this left tackle spot is going to be an interesting one. And Tristan, me and you had talks, before this Conklin news dropped of, hey, the offensive line next year is probably going to look like Bitonio, Teller, Harris, Hudson, right? What happens at left tackle? Well, now that Conklin's locked up, he's going to be here. And I hope he stays healthy. I really do, because like you said, he's great when he's healthy, but the problem has been not been on the field. And I'll be honest with you, even when he has been on the field, I've been disappointed. I think he's not playing up to his full potential, and I do think that is partially because of injury. Yeah. So, I mean, there's only so much he can do about that. I'm not going to sit there and blame him for playing hurt. It is what it is.
It's the same thing with Wyatt Teller this year. I think that both of them, when they're fully healthy, are some of the best guys in the league at their position, but they're playing through injury. And I get that they're not playing up to the standard that you and I expect them to. I think a lot of Browns fans are being a little bit harsh because these guys are going out there and, they're fighting through their injuries to try to be there, and they're better than the guys that would be replacing them. So they're, at the end of the day, they're doing us a service. I get that they're making millions of dollars, but still, it doesn't feel great to go out there when you're hurt, and they're both clearly hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's the same thing. I mean, you could go out, roll your ankle, and be in a boot, and I could pay you to, $5 million to play a football game. Doesn't mean you're going to be great just because you're getting paid. It's just you're getting paid to play through pain. That's what the game of football is. So, this line fully healthy is great, right? Just looking from left guard over to right tackle with Bitonio, who's a proven, Hall of Famer, right? He's going to be a Hall of Famer. Center, we already talked about it. Teller, when he's healthy, great. Conklin, when he's healthy, great. Let's talk about it. Left tackle. This is the spot that me and you have kind of really dove into a little bit here. Tristan, to me, when I saw this news break about Conklin, and I think I even tweeted it, bye, Jed. He's gone. There's no money. There's no money, even if the Browns wanted to keep him around. Maybe the 5th-year option, they could work it out, but he's not going to be a Cleveland Brown past next year, for sure. I think he's gone probably this offseason. And Jack Duffin, we rave about Jack Duffin here on this podcast. He even tweeted it out about trading Jedrick Wills. So, I'm not going to take credit, but we've been talking about it. Let's just say that.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. And here's the other thing I also want to mention since you said Jack Duffin. He's a fantastic guy to follow. We've shout him out before here. Just because if you want to know contracts with the Browns, Jack Duffin's your guy. Like he knows what's what about the contracts. And for those worried that Jack Conklin signed a 4-year deal, so he's going to be here for 4 years, that's not necessarily the case. And Jack Duffin broke it down. Essentially, you have to look at guaranteed money, which guaranteed money says this deal is pretty much 2 years, $31 million, and the Browns have the option of keeping him for another 2 years. That is at his same cap. That's what it is, right? So let's not get too worried about the 4 years part. He does fantastic work, and yeah, no, I just wanted to shout that individual thing out. Jedrick Wills, man, we talked about him. You and I both for certain reasons, mostly being effort, do not like him. And listen, I mean, he's got all the talent in the world. He could turn it around, and you know, he's like an league average left tackle, which, you know what? Hey, fair enough. You're a league average left tackle. Good for you. But it just doesn't make sense for us to pay this guy loads and loads of money. Like, you know, he's probably going to want. He hasn't lived up to what position he was selected at in the draft.
Not at all.
And that's why we're upset. You know, it's not that he's an absolute garbage left tackle who's, you know, like a revolving door. You know, he's not that. It's just that he's disappointing because you see the talent, you see what he could be, and he's just not. And I don't think he cares enough to be, and it shows in his effort. You know, hey, if he can turn it around, great, but I just don't see it at this point. If you're having a lack of motivation issue and a lack of finishing play issue, your third year in the league, you know, there you go. Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I think it's time to move on. The only thing that I would say that could convince me, you know what, maybe he'll stick around this year, because I'm with you. I don't think he's here after next year regardless. The only thing that tells me, hey, he could be here next year is if we draft a developmental left tackle and a guy that has all the raw tools, like, you know, like a 6'7", 6'8" left tackle that's wide as hell, you know, like that's the only way I see Jed here. If we can find a guy with that type of size and that prototype, like a Jordan Mailata, I believe his name is that, if that's how you say it, for the Eagles, like what they did, where they took him in the 7th round. He's a massive rugby player and made it work. I think that's something that you could see us do. And it would make a lot of sense if you can find a rookie this year, take the whole year to develop him behind Jed, and you insert him. Congratulations. You have a guy for 3 more years on a cheap rookie deal that can play that left tackle spot. And when his contract's time to renew, guess who's is going to be expiring? Jack Conklin. So I think that this is what we're seeing now, is the Browns are going to move on from Jed, whether it's James Hudson's going to play at left tackle next year, whether it's a cheap vet that's going to play at left tackle next year. They're going to invest in somebody with the ideal frame that they're looking for, and they're going to develop them. And that's what's going to happen. I think it's written in the stars, and I think exactly what I said. I hate to feel like I'm Doctor Strange here, but for me, it feels like it's written in the stars. Like that's going to happen based off of the term on Jack Conklin's contract, based off the term of all the other offensive linemen's contract. We're due to have a young guy come through that the team develops and makes work at the left tackle spot. So.
Yeah, okay. How do I put this? I agree with you. Yes, I agree with you. But I kind of see, and you got to look at tendencies, right? Because when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. That's something that I've 100% believe. Andrew Berry has kind of shown us who he is. You know, he'll bring in guys and say, hey, compete, you know, and I kind of see the same thing happening here. what happened at center, I know it was a little bit different of a situation. I see that happening at left tackle. I think the Browns are going to give James Hudson the opportunity to take that left tackle spot. He's absolutely improved by miles. I mean, talking about his year 1 to year 2 is massive. It's huge difference. And he's been a filling guy. He's kind of been, why can't I remember his name? You know who I'm talking about, right? Or right tackle for us, Chris Hubbard. That's what I was gonna say.
Oh yeah,
he's been kind of our young Chris Hubbard, and I love that. I love to have a guy who could be a swing tackle, fill in multiple different spots. But I think they're going to give him the opportunity at left tackle. But with that being said, who's going to be the Ethan Postage?
Nick Harris, I think.
No, at left tackle.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. I thought you meant at center.
No, no.
I was like, what do you mean? It's going to be. No. Oh, no. I know what you're saying.
Let's put Nick Harris at left tackle. He's 5'8". Yeah.
Oh, God. No. That would be brutal.
It's funny, though, what you mentioned, and I'm so glad you did because you brought it to my memory. So thank you. That's why we work well together. There's a guy that's been rumored to the Browns for a long time that I think they would strongly consider bringing in. He would be cheap. He's, I guess, a vet now. Andre Dillard for the Eagles. That is a guy who has been linked to the Browns multiple times in trade deadlines, off seasons. Listen, I think I saw him in person when we played the Eagles in the preseason, right? And I was just kind of like, I could see him on the Browns. And I tried to watch him as close as possible. Is he perfect? No. Is he somebody, if the Browns brought in, that fans would be pumped up? No. But here's what you got to understand. And this is what we've talked about kind of with Jedrick Wills. What he has around him gives him no excuses for what he's done. Right? We've talked about it. The thing I hate most is wasted potential. I hate seeing people with God-given gifts, right? You and me can't do the same things Jedrick Wills can.
No,
he can. He's been gifted with those genetics and with, everything that he's got, right? But he lets it stop him up here. His brain keeps getting in his way. For me, that's why I see a scenario here. And this is kind of the same thing as well. People are who they, believe. Gosh, I'm just horrible today. When people show you who they are, believe them, right? Andrew Berry has shown you with the mentality side of things, right? They didn't have to move off of Baker Mayfield, right? And I'm not bringing this up to trigger people and all that, but the point being, mentality-wise, there was a difference, right? Clear to see. And I know left tackle and quarterback, two different positions, but you've had the best offensive line coach in the NFL your entire career. And you were drafted 10th overall out of the best university in college football, especially at that time. And this is all you've done. The Browns will 100% move off of Jedrick Wills. We talked about it before. His trade value right now is decent. They can get something for him. So that's kind of what I see happening. If I had to envision right now, I don't know what today is, December 27th, 2022. If you ask me, what does the Browns offensive line look like next year? Left tackle, I think it's going to be James Hudson and a vet. And I really, really do think Andre Dillard is a legitimate option. I think that could happen. And then obviously, Bitonio, probably Nick Harris, maybe Postage, whatever. Teller and Conklin. That's just what they're going to roll with. I know I've been rambling here for a second, but the last thing I want to bring up, the reason why I think they're going to bring in competition to kind of push James Hudson at that left tackle spot, if he indeed gets that opportunity, whoever loses that battle is going to be your swing tackle fill-in. So James Hudson can either go back to his role, or you can put the vet that you bring in that role. And I think that would kind of bring everything together, and put all the puzzle pieces together. That's just how I see it. What do you think about that?
No, I think you're spot on. I think, what did we have year one with James Hudson? When his rookie year, he was the fourth tackle on our team. The guys above him were Chris Hubbard and Jack Conklin and Jedrick Wills. I think we're going to do the exact same thing, where we're going to have a swing tackle ahead of a rookie that we see as the guy that's actually going to develop and potentially be left tackle of the future. I think that's what we're going to do, honestly. And I think it makes sense with what you're saying, just because at the end of the day, we got to get something for Jedrick Wills, because if we can turn Jedrick Wills into like a second-round pick and it's a rookie D tackle or like a rookie who can help us out on defense or a receiver who can help us out on offense for many, many years, that makes more sense for us, because essentially we're going to be wagering 1 year of Jedrick Wills versus a draft pick that can help us for many years. And if it's a second or third round pick, you do that deal. You do it. And then you sign a cheap vet and you take a guy in the mid rounds of the draft, and you trust your scouting department because they hit on Martin Emerson. They did. They absolutely hit on Martin Emerson. And not only that, but they hit on James Hudson. James Hudson was what, fifth, sixth round pick? And
I think he was a fifth.
Yeah. And for a fifth round pick to be a good swing tackle, that's a good pick.
Fifth round pick, former defensive tackle that turned offensive tackle.
Well, turned center. I think he was a center,
he was a tackle. No, he was a tackle at Cincinnati. Yeah, because he was the left tackle for Ritter. Yeah,
we were talking about turning him into a guard when Teller's deal expired, because we were worried we weren't going to afford Teller. We're way past that point now. But yeah, no, I mean, it's proven that this team can find diamonds in the rough. I shouldn't say diamonds, like gold.
Yeah,
exactly.
Silver
at times.
Sometimes.
Yeah, gold or silver. Guys that are solid for their draft position. And I think you got to trust Bill Callahan to identify a guy in the mid rounds of the draft he can develop, and you got to trust Andrew Berry and your stats team to come up with a guy that fits the mold, that like they did with Martin Emerson. And honestly, that pick, he has been the diamond in the rough this year. He really has. JOK last year was the diamond in the rough, even though, he shouldn't have fell out of the first round. Yeah. And we all knew the talent was there. With Martin Emerson, nobody knew that he was this good. Nobody. So hats off to the Browns for that. Do it for left tackle. Secure yourselves for 4 more years. So do it. Because if you can do that, and on top of that, flip Jedrick Wills for a guy who can also be productive at a receiver or a D tackle or a different position for 3-4 years, congratulations. You just pretty much fixed 2 positions. Flipping off of a guy you weren't going to keep around anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, exactly. I just think it makes too much sense. I think it makes too much sense to move off of him. If he sticks around, I'm certainly not going to be preying on his downfall by any means necessary. I hope he figures it out and does great for us. But, I won't be necessarily happiest that we just stuck with a guy who clearly is just not, it's hard to formulate everything I want to say, because he's not terrible. He's not terrible. He's solid, but it's just, we need better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At the end of the day, it all comes down to his mentality, and you're in the NFL, right? College mentality works in college. It's too late. You can't figure things out on your 5th year option if that's what ends up happening. It just can't. So it'll be interesting to see how this offensive line shakes out. I think they definitely will be better next year, especially getting a full offseason / last part of this regular season with the new system, new quarterback. Yeah. I think they'll be better, but we'll see. So anyway, moving on. This is some interesting news, some news that I was, I kind of rolled my eyes at because of how stupid it is. Yet another example of the Browns being the Browns in a stupid way. The Browns have signed boxer Jake Paul to a deal, and it's a media influencer deal, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
But before you go, Tristan, I just want to say couple things on this, because what I don't understand, right? People want to talk bad about Cleveland all the time, and there are so many better representatives for the city of Cleveland than either of the Paul brothers, right? Yeah. And MGK, I'm not a huge fan of him, right? I wouldn't even say I am a fan of him. I just, I don't mind him, I guess. Would much rather have him be a representative of the Browns as far as like a social media standpoint, something like that. And yes, I know the Paul brothers have their pull with like the podcast and the boxing and all that. And I want to make this clear. I have a ton of respect for the both of them, right? I don't like them, but I have a ton of respect because it's hard to go from, hey, I'm a Disney Channel star kid to, switch and become a legitimate boxer, because both of them have become legitimate boxers. And I that's not easy to do. And they took it seriously, and they're achieving big things, right? Obviously, there's a lot of people who are going to, critique that and who they face and all that. But listen, it's hard. I respect the work. I respect it. I respect you caring to try something new. That's tough to do. So I don't want to come off as I just hate them, but listen, they're clowns. All right. Both of these two are just absolute clowns. Jake Paul, and for me, especially recently, Jake and Logan have kind of been known on social media because they've been really hardly making fun of like Christians and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, that was Logan. Yeah, big time.
Yeah, that was Logan, but Jake's done it as well. And that's kind of like my problem with it is like, listen, I understand, right? People are going to think whatever they want. I understand people are going to make fun of everybody for every different thing. But is that really something that you want representing your team and your franchise? Somebody who's going to come out and make fun of a large group of people around the world, not just, in Cleveland, Ohio. Like, is that what you want? Do you really want these guys coming on? Because you got to understand you choose to bring them on, not just for you, right? They're going to forever be attached to you, right? So if Jake does something on Instagram Live that's stupid, it's going to come back to you as the Browns because you're paying him to represent you. Yeah. That's what I don't understand.
Or the very next day, post a video on Twitter boxing a dildo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, exactly. I'm glad you said it because I wasn't going to bring it up, dude. But yeah,
it's wild. The day after, oh my gosh, it was on a Sunday too. It was on a Sunday.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like, bro, out of all the people that you could have chose to represent you, and you make a big deal out of it too. You have a press conference. Really? Like, you expect the fans to be like, oh, yeah, Jake Paul, right? He's from Cleveland. Nobody likes him. Nobody. There's a difference between respect and like. I can respect plenty of people. I don't like a lot of people, right? That's just how it goes. So I don't understand what they were thinking. And yeah, this is stupid, right? For us being a football podcast to be talking about a media personality. But bro, I'm embarrassed as a Browns fan. I am embarrassed that this is even a thing. Like, I'll be honest. Anyway, after my however many minutes of rambling, what did you think of the Cleveland Browns signing Jake Paul?
Just like in the same year that you took so much heat for trading for Deshaun Watson, you think that it's a perfect complimentary move to go for Jake Paul? Like, oh my God. Like, what are we doing? Like, whoever's running PR for the Browns, I'm sorry, I don't know who your name is. I'm sure your job is very tough, and I'm sure that, you know what, it's not an easy job. Put in your 2 weeks, bro. Like, just do it, because this, like, there's no recovering from this. I don't know if it was your decision to make this, right? And even if you're innocent and like, you know, you didn't know this was going to happen, for your own sake, put in your 2 weeks, bro. Because this is not good for you. This is just not. I'm so sorry you got to go through this, bro. But if this was your decision, then you brought this upon yourself. What are you doing? Like, I don't know who's the final like decision maker in saying that Jake Paul's the guy to bring in to represent your social media and to represent growth within your organization. Whoever that person is, man, they deserve to be fired. Like, honestly, oh my gosh. I get it. He's a big YouTuber, big social media influencer from Ohio. Fantastic. Great. Cool. Why can't you ask somebody else? There's a lot of people from Ohio who have big social medias who I'm sure would love to do some Browns content. Like you mentioned MGK. There's the Miz, who's a big Browns fan, as we know.
Even though he's wearing a Rams jersey, doing the Rams intros or whatever. I don't care.
Listen. Let's just not talk about it. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, there's the Miz that you could go for, which you know, those guys aren't as big as Jake Paul. Okay, fine. Why not Steph Curry? He's from Ohio. LeBron James, he's from Ohio. Those guys are big, way bigger than Jake Paul. Steve Miocic, you know, he's not necessarily a big social media guy, but he's a guy that us Browns fans look at and say, like, that's the type of guy we love.
That's like, Cleveland.
That's Cleveland. Yeah. Exactly. Jake Paul is not Cleveland. That boy is like suburbs of Cleveland. You know, he's not Cleveland. Like, yeah. You know, there was a lot. There were so many better options they could have gone for. Like the Bengals, I actually like and respect what the Bengals have done. They don't go for like social media guys or anything like that. They actually go for their content creators, like guys that actually are making content for the team and about the team. They like invite them out to games and stuff, and they promote their stuff and stuff like that. Like that for me is so much better. So much better than this. This is not the move. This is not the move. I listen, if you don't know the full extent of Jake Paul and all the dumb stuff he's done over the years, as well as his brother's not like, you know, he's not involved in this, but he's still like, we're not just talking about the religion stuff. There's so many other things that they've done over the years that, yeah, I don't want to get into it right now, but do your research, because it's just like these guys have been clowns for many years, and they've been looked upon and frowned upon by many people, and that's how they built up their reputation, was by being like that. And little preteen, like 7-8-year-olds love that stuff, and that's why they have a big following, is because of that, you know.
And he got booed at the game, by the way.
Good,
right? We want to talk about like, oh, are the Browns fans going to boo Deshaun Watson? They're going to boo Jake Paul. I mean, are we just trying to go as controversial as possible? Exactly.
Like that's what it was. But I hate that we're talking about this. I just want to move on, but we had to talk about it because it was stupid.
It's this is a Jimmy Haslam ran football team. This is what happens. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
All right. We need to move on because we're both gonna just be upset.
Yeah, might as well continue with the slideshows of hashtag DP on Twitter in the Browns facility. I don't know if you've heard about that story.
No, but I don't.
No. Okay, I'm gonna get into this because anybody who doesn't know this story that's listening right now, you'll love it. So, several years ago, the Browns on Twitter, they pretty much posted like, "Hey, post yourselves using the hashtag DP for Dog Pound, and we are going to have all of those pictures with all those hashtags displayed running through the lobby in, you know, the training center, the training facility. And that way the players and the staff and everybody is going to see the like pretty much like a slideshow of Browns fans. You know, great thought, right? Derek.
Hold on, let me swallow. Okay. All right, we're safe.
You know, it was great intention. But you tell me, on Twitter, where they allow pretty much everything, what do you think DP could also stand for?
Yeah, I'm going to pretend like I don't know for the sake of anybody I know watching this, but yes.
Let me say this in the most PG version possible.
I swear, if you're about to tell me that was on the wall in the training facility, I'm taking all my Brown stuff back.
The Browns, in the Browns facility, they had a slideshow of not safe for work content being displayed through like in the facility. In the facility. That actually happened. It actually happened. And if you don't believe me, I believe it was Mary Kay Cabot who came out with that. It was somebody.
Of course, Mary Kay. Of course, Mary Kay would be the one to know.
It was a very long time ago, but it happened. So, and it's just like, this is we're the Browns, baby. Nobody does it better. But yeah, no. So that happened. Hashtag DP going through. Oh, it's so embarrassing, but so funny. Oh.
Not hashtag dog pound. Can't be that.
Not hashtag dog check, which I know came later, but still, you know. Yeah, no, had to be hashtag DP.
Dude, why are we fans of this franchise? Like, why? Why?
Yeah. I don't know, but anyways, yeah.
On a happier note, we got to move on as soon as possible because I'm just rethinking my entire fandom of this team. White face masks are back. That's an unexpected good thing. About time the Browns did something positive. Tristan, I don't know about you, but when the new uniforms were released, I was very disappointed that white face masks weren't the standard. And we've kind of seen the Browns hear the fans, right? Everybody was like, where's the orange pants? Oh, well, here we go. We got orange pants. Where's white face mask? Oh, well, now we have white face masks. I think orange jerseys are coming eventually. I don't know when, but they're going to be here, I'd imagine. But my question to you, because I know my answer is 1,000% yes. Should the white face masks be the standard face masks for the Browns?
Yes. Like, look, the brown face masks are great. You know, it's fine. The white face masks are another level. It's so clean. It looks so good. Like, honestly, like, it just looks so much better. I just think the brown and orange are both a little bit too dark, and it doesn't make it pop. The white just pops, and it looks fantastic. It looks crisp. It looks clean. Dude, the white face masks were absolutely the way to go. Absolutely the way to go. They never, like, from that point on, the moment that we saw them on live TV, they should have never went away.
No.
They should have stuck. They should have stayed forever. And I'm praying, Jimmy and D. Haslam, I know we just talked about some embarrassing moments. Moments of this team. But those can be forgiven. Sins can be forgiven if you bring back these white face masks. Please just do it. Do it, please. It looks so much better. It makes the helmet look so much cleaner. The whole
I was gonna say the whole uniform.
Whole uniform. The white kind of brings it together. Like, I felt like when I saw Deshaun Watson with the white face mask, the brown helmet, the brown top, the orange pants, I was like, oh my gosh, like, he's wearing the same exact uniform that I saw the Retro Browns playing in. Like, the good, like, what my papa tells me about how great those Browns were and how it's been so long since we've had a winning team and how it like, you know, it was like, wow, you know, like those are great uniforms, you know, and I just think absolutely keep them.
Yeah. And I think at the very least, because what we've seen so far this year, the Browns have worn the orange pants plenty of times, right? It's become a part of the uniform. Same thing with the color rush, right? Last year didn't wear the color rush at all. And this year we've worn it like 3-4 times, just unannounced, just kind of random. Hey, we're wearing the color rush. Same thing with last week. Like last week, I mean, again, I didn't get to watch it, but I was like, oh, we're wearing color rush. All right, cool. Like they're just all of a sudden throwing so many different uniform combinations in. Listen, why did I forget his name? This happens every time we record. I just forget people's names. I keep wanting to say JB Bickerstaff, but it's not. You know who
Andrew
I'm talking
Berry?
about. No. Jimmy Haslam's, is it his stepson or brother or son-in-law? Yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
Was it?
Is JW, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. He's in charge of all this. I know you're not going to see this, but you know, okay, maybe I'll cut this clip and tag you on Twitter. Maybe you'll see it. Hey, listen, here's two Browns fans. We're both idiots, yes, but please listen to us. You've kind of figured out some of the uniform situation, right? All right, J-Dub, listen.
Uniforms gotten a lot better. Absolutely.
Uniforms have gotten a lot better. You've improved. You brought the orange pants. You brought the white face mask. Now, all we want is some orange jerseys. Okay, let's put that on the wish list. But keep the white face masks. Like, do it. I even if it's not permanently 50-50, right? The Browns can switch. You can switch, right? How many teams this year switched helmets multiple times? Right? The Browns can switch face masks. It's not hard. You just unscrew it, you know, put the new one on, right? Like, do it. It's not hard. Like, well, let's get that done. Let's figure that one out. Yeah. But Tristan, could you imagine? Okay, here's how my brain works. Deshaun Watson played college football where?
Clemson.
What are their uniforms?
Orange and white.
Orange helmet, orange jersey, white face masks. Cleveland Browns, please give me orange helmet, white face masks, orange jersey, white pants. I beg you. If you give us that uniform combination, brother, let me tell you something. You are going to sell so much more merchandise, like just with that uniform combination than anything. Like, you know how cool that would be? It would literally look like Deshaun Watson Clemson. That's what it would look like.
Yeah, I'll do you one better. What team does Jimmy Haslam, what college team does he boost for? A crap ton. Tennessee. What colors do they wear? Orange and white. Jimmy, do it for yourself at this point. Just be selfish. Do it for yourself. Come on now. Like, it would look good. I want to see. I'm right with you. I want to see variations, because the thing is like the big thing for the Browns, like over the years, has been like they can't have a sick jersey because it's just brown and orange. Like, they're two boring colors. You have an opportunity to mix it up, be different, be bold. Do it. I really think they have an opportunity to run away with their colors and just like how good these uniforms look. Because I love the uniforms that we have now. I really do. Face masks, yes. Orange jerseys, yes. Make those two things happen, please. Please.
And nobody's asking you to wear them every week.
No. But like, keep them. For me, I would love for them to keep the white face masks every week. I just think it's so much cleaner. So much cleaner. The orange jerseys.
Go ahead.
You know, orange jerseys, 25%. I want to see them once in a while, but like, I think I'd get, you know, my eyes would hurt if I saw orange that many times. But sorry, yeah, you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, this is the way my brain works. Could you imagine orange helmet, white face mask, white jersey, orange pants? Like, oh, dude,
that would look great. Yeah,
that would be incredible. long story short, you have so much, like you said, even being the Browns with orange and brown as your primary colors, you could still figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's why we were so embarrassed in 2015 when your sleeves went over here instead of here where a sleeve's supposed to end. Right. It's so stupid, but they need to figure it out. They're getting it.
Yeah, those jerseys were legitimately terrible. Legitimately terrible. These new jerseys are much better. Hammer it home, baby. Come on.
Mm-hmm. You're so close. Like you're right there. Just knock it out of the park. Right. Bases are loaded. Everybody's, you got your orange pants, you got your white face mask, you got the new uniforms that are better than the old ones. Bases are loaded. I almost said Ortiz, Aaron Hernandez.
David Ortiz, Big Poppy, baby.
I almost said Aaron Hernandez. I meant Aaron Judge.
Get a big shooter up there, baby.
Exactly. Yeah. Get him up there, knock it out of the park. You're so close. Let's just figure it out. But
yeah.
So that's everything on my list. What else you want to talk about there, pal?
Only thing I really want to bring up, Deshaun Watson. I feel like we're seeing glimpses at a time where we're seeing like, okay, this guy's legit. Hasn't been able to piece it all together for a full game yet. I think it's coming. And I also want to talk about Stefanski and some of the heat on him. Mm-hmm. I think that
with Deshaun, real quick, just with Deshaun, I will tell you the one thing I have noticed, because I see a little bit clips here and there on Twitter, because that's the only time I have. Pretty damn good to have a running quarterback, because I've seen so many clips of Deshaun Watson just taking off running and getting those extra 7 yards for the first down. I know right now we're all kind of like, is this what we traded for? Like, this is the guy, really? Which, by the way, everybody shut the hell up. Deshaun Watson is not worse than Russell Wilson right now. Russell Wilson is the biggest bust trade sign I've ever seen in my life.
Dude, it might end up being like the worst trade of all time. If it keeps on at this projectile, it could end up there. Like, it's that bad. Like, wow. Oh my God. Like, wow. But sorry. Yeah.
Dude.
Wow. But anyways, what I see from Deshaun Watson is a guy who each and every week is shaking off the rust, and he's getting closer and closer to being like that elite quarterback. He's already shown like he's much better than Jacoby. No offense to Jacoby. He had a great year with us. He's looked, Jacoby was great. I loved him. Deshaun Watson's got talent that we've never seen since, like, I mean, probably Otto Graham, like, that long. Like, we haven't seen, like, honestly, he's that good. He's that good. Oh my gosh. I mean, this guy's making plays when there's absolutely nothing there. There's nothing there. The play's dead. And he's buying time with his feet. He's stepping up in the pocket. He's running. He's making throws on the run. He's making it work. And there are moments where it doesn't piece together for him. But I think over time it will. And I think Kevin Stefanski is trying to figure out what Deshaun Watson is and how best to use him. I think Deshaun is still learning the system. And I think that this team overall needs another reliable receiver. I think we've talked about this. Mm-hmm. I think the issue that I come to is we can solve this issue with a guy who's $5 million or less on the free agent market. In my opinion, the need is not that dire where we need to spend crazy cap space, crazy amounts of draft picks. Like, I don't think it's that dire. I think we need one more guy who, in tough games where we're playing up against good defenses, good secondaries, and they're locking up Cooper, they're locking up Njoku, and you need a third option, and DPJ is just not in it. You got to have somebody you can turn to. And right now this team doesn't have it. And not only that, but also like the Saints game, man. I mean, Deshaun gave you 2 opportunities at the end. He led the team down the field. He threw 2 perfect balls. His receivers just had to make plays. And then Njoku one was terrible. I mean, David, I get it's cold out. I get that, it's
maybe if you wore a t-shirt and warm-ups, your body wouldn't be freezing to death.
No, but I love David, and that's not going to change after this one drop, but he's got to catch that, man. You got to catch that. Your quarterback just led you down the field. He gave you an absolute dime, exactly where it needed to be. You gotta do that. You gotta make that play. But slowly but surely, this team is really piecing together. I think this offense is going to be really good next year. And this is where I'm going to transition into Kevin Stefanski. Right now on Browns Twitter, all I can see is Kevin Stefanski should be fired. Frog JC tweets out,
of course,
that if the Browns don't fire Stefanski this year and they end up firing him next year and they don't go for Sean Payton, it could be something that they truly, hugely regret. And maybe, but
okay, hold on.
Listen,
let me say this real quick. Sean Payton, when the Browns hired Kevin Stefanski, said something. He was on NFL, whatever panel, stupid show it was. He said something about the Browns constantly firing people. How can they expect anybody to gain their footing? What makes you think that Sean Payton's coming to Cleveland? He's not. Sean Payton is not coming to Cleveland. Like, Kevin Stefanski's it. Whether if we love him or hate him, Kevin Stefanski is it for next year. They are going to give him that chance for multiple different reasons, but Deshaun Watson being the number one, because guess what? Who was on the plane going to meet Deshaun Watson? Who was in the meetings? Who was a part of convincing him to come to Cleveland? Kevin Stefanski and his offense, right? What makes you think that in a season with all this turmoil and everything just going wrong, what makes you think they're going to fire him? They're not. I don't love Kevin Stefanski right now either, but guess what? They're going to give him a chance. They have to. They have no choice. What money do you think Jimmy Haslam spent $230 million guaranteed that he had to write the check for? Do you think he's going to spend all that money and then just say, nah, we can get a better coach. Let's try it. Doesn't matter that he came here because of you. No, that's just not how it works. That's not how it's going to happen. Defensive coordinator's different, right?
Oh, yeah.
That is way different. That's way different. But Stefanski, well, no.
Yeah. Well, and the thing with Kevin is, listen, if he does not if it's week 4 by next season and he's still producing these same results, 100% going to be on that fire him train. But at the end of the day, we have not established a culture yet. And I don't know as though we have had an established culture since the Cardiac Kids, Bertie Kosar, that area. It's been too much turmoil, too much turnover. The issue with the Browns the past several years has been they haven't had continuity. They haven't been able to establish a culture. And I think that Kevin Stefanski, while he has not been good enough this year, and I will say that he has not been good enough, I think that he is going to – I think everybody who's writing him off right now is going to regret it next year. And they're going to say, man, I judged him too soon. Sean McDermott was in Buffalo, and his first 2 seasons with the Bills were not necessarily great. I think he had a 6 or 7 win season and then an 8 or 9 win season. But he got his quarterback and he established his culture, and it worked. It finally worked, right? And it all started 2 years after he got his quarterback, because they drafted Josh Allen the same year that Sean McDermott got in there. The year after. And it took a year of growing with that quarterback. And then after that, they took off and they started to have their success. I think that Kevin Stefanski next year will be fantastic. I think he's shown flashes before that he's a great offensive play caller. I think that he's right now going through a bit of a tough time because he has to completely redesign his offense and completely instill a new type of offense and call different plays than he was calling before with players that haven't been running those plays since it was warm outside.
Well, that's summer, a big thing too.
Since summer.
Yeah.
And like, that's the thing. Like, there's so much, like, it's not just Deshaun that has the rust. It's the fact that the playbook, these plays, they haven't been calling these plays for Jacoby. You know, there's so much adjustment that is necessary that I think it's too premature to think that it's time for him to go. And I will say this for everybody who's big time Kevin Stefanski out, who is going to be running our offense next year if it's not Sean Payton, right? Who's going to do it? Because the only links I've seen out there, I've seen Brian Flores, where you're going to end up hiring a QB coach who's a defensive coach, and you're going to end up hiring somebody who's right now a quarterback or a wide receivers coach to run your offense, most likely. Let's see here. You're instantaneously going to have a lesser qualified candidate to run your offense, even if your defense is solid. Or you're going to go for somebody who's not Sean Payton, who you don't know if he's going to be a great play caller. Why would you do that when you've already got Kevin Stefanski, who many players have had experience with him? Deshaun Watson likes him and is building his experience with him right now. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to move off of him right now. This time next year, if we're not in the playoffs, absolutely, I'll be 100%. No, he needs to go. He's had a full off season with Deshaun. He's been able to have enough time to build this offense. He hasn't done it well enough. He needs to go.
And guess what? What did we talk about? What did we talk about at the beginning of the podcast? Offensive line. Hate to break the news to you, right? Hate to break the news to the people who don't understand, schematic side of things. And I'm not claiming to be an expert, obviously, and neither are you. But this offensive line was pieced together for Kevin Stefanski's offense. So if you bring in a new offense, it's going to throw everything out of whack, right? Yeah, Nick Chubb's still going to be great. He's Nick Chubb. But if you want to get the full potential out of Bitonio, Teller, Conklin, whoever, it's in this system. You don't draft guys and sign guys and extend guys for a system that they don't fit in. That's what people aren't understanding. Like, the pieces to the puzzle are for the big picture. The big picture is the style of offense, right? You're not going to bring in, like, just for instance, quarterback wise, the Browns, if Josh Allen, for example, was available, right? Obviously he's a great quarterback. You would change your system for it, but this is a terrible analogy. I don't know why I'm saying this, but point being, right? Okay, this is a better one. Tom Brady, right? Tom Brady is probably going to be a free agent. A lot of people are talking about it. Would the Browns bring in a Tom Brady-like quarterback, or would they bring in a quarterback who can run the system, right? That's why they got Deshaun Watson, because he can run the system, and he brings the athleticism. He can throw on the run. That's what you want, right? Jacoby Brissett really didn't fit the system. Right. He's a pocket quarterback, but they saw things in him that he didn't really show anywhere else that kind of translated to the Kevin Stefanski offense. So point being is you don't mess with the plan, right? If you believe in the plan, you spend money on the plan and you put time and effort into it, don't throw it away over one little hiccup, right? That just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but I just think the sample size is too small with Kevin. I mean, his first year, right? His first year, he takes Baker Mayfield, a healthy Baker Mayfield, and he rides, he's able to get the most out of Baker Mayfield that we've ever seen. And he takes his team to the playoffs and were a couple plays away from going to the AFC Championship game, right? Like that's how good that offense was, especially when you consider the defense was absolutely terrible. that defense that year is absolutely terrible. The next year, he's got a banged up Baker Mayfield after 2 games and is clearly not able to do the things that he was previously able to do. He was the worst quarterback in football last year, the worst starter. Pretty much set in stone he was. And the defense was decent. It was good. Second half of the year, I should say. So he had 2 things going against him. This year, he's had Jacoby Brissett, who albeit played well, not a franchise quarterback, right? And on top of that, the first half of the year, his defense was terrible. He's had a lot of these things kind of going against him. When he had the quarterback, though, and this is what I'm saying, when he had the quarterback and he had the chemistry with the quarterback, it worked, and it worked so well. And that's why I think it's too premature, because we haven't had the opportunity to see him with a really good quarterback since his first year.
And the one thing that they've shown, I know I haven't been able to watch the game, so I don't know how much it's changed, but at least in the games that I have watched, the one thing I've heard is, oh man, Deshaun missed that, right? He had that, the decision making, it's not there yet. Well, guess what? When that gets there, oh my gosh. When Deshaun Watson, right? How many times, and obviously this is before any of the stuff happened, right? You're talking strictly football and breaking down film. Go watch anytime Deshaun Watson has explained and broken down film, right? He's in the feeling out process of re-understanding all that. Next season, with a full off season, the rest of this season to learn from it, that I'm expecting that to be there. That should be the standard, right? The standard for Deshaun Watson next year should be 2020 season as far as his performance goes.
And the team expectation, in my opinion, if coaching is where it needs to be, this team should be in the AFC Championship game. They should be playing the Chiefs or the Bills. And I'm not saying they should beat them next year, but those are the teams that they should be playing. And
maybe the Dolphins.
Possibly losing. Yeah, maybe the Dolphins too. Those are the only 3 teams. Although, you know what? Our coaching should be better than the Bengals. I do not like the Bengals coaching staff. I still don't. Even though they figured it out, I still don't. I think even the Bengals we should be better than next year. To be quite blunt, this team needs to go to the playoffs, and they need to do better than what they did in Kevin's first year. Whether it's losing to a better opponent than that Chiefs team, even though that Chiefs team went to the Super Bowl that year, I get it. They got to do better than that. And I think they will. I really do. I really do. And, if we can have a solid defense that you can rely to give you top 15, top 10 performances every week, then there's no reason for Kevin Stefanski not to take this team that far. And I feel it in my core he's going to do it. And I really want it to happen so that way I can go through Twitter timelines and just tell people, wow, how wrong were you, you idiot? Because he's just getting absolutely roasted right now. And I don't think he deserves it. I don't.
Yeah, well, part 2.
You go. I've been rambling. No. You keep on. You go.
I was going to say part 2 to this conversation is also Deshaun Watson. Like we've talked about how he's in the feeling out process right now. I tweeted it out. Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the AFC North right now. That is not disputable at all, right? Joe Burrow is the best quarterback, but here's the caveat. Deshaun Watson can get to that level. He's not there yet. So point being, you're judging Kevin Stefanski based on Deshaun Watson, who's still Deshaun Watson, but he's not the Deshaun Watson, if that makes sense.
He can get past Joe Burrow's level. We've seen it before with an even worse Texans team. He with an even worse Texans team, this guy was an MVP candidate. Like this guy with maximized skill set, with this talented of a roster around him, And if everything's clicking coaching wise, he could be the MVP of the league next year.
There ain't no way they're gonna do it though.
I don't think they would. I don't think they would from a PR perspective. But he would play at that level. Like if all goes well, that's what we should be expecting next year. And I really, really sincerely think it will. Because honestly, if it doesn't, man, oh man, I don't even know what to think. Like, honestly, I will be, like, I knew this year was going to be a year that, you know, the window's open, but I always kind of myself was thinking next year. Next year's the year. And I think I said it in one of our earlier, like, off-season podcasts. Like, you know, I expect this year to be good. I expect the following year to be our best. I really think next year is the year where we seriously can turn the page. So
yeah, and so much of it depends on the defense, and that's too much to get into now, or we'll be here for another hour. But
oh god, yeah.
I just want to say I do agree. I mean, we've talked about it at length, but I think adding another receiver to this core really helps because Amari Cooper's been fantastic. Donovan Peoples-Jones has been fantastic. Amari Cooper hit 1,000 yards. I think DPJ's close. I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but that's 2,000-yard receivers almost, right? And if you add a third, right, David Bell's shown flashes. I think even Michael Woods has shown flashes. But if you add another, and preferably a vet, but from the cap standpoint, it would be better to get a rookie that could hopefully fill that role. But point being, like you said, Deshaun Watson can hit guys, right? It's just a matter of can they come down with it. So
oddly enough,
adding another is I think we definitely need to.
Oddly enough, right? I love the diversity that we have in our receiving core right now. You got Amari Cooper, who's the route runner, right? You've got DPJ, who's the speedster, kind of deep threat, you would say.
Yeah.
I think he's our version of that.
I think he's a 50-50 guy. He reminds me a lot, and I don't want to make Bengals fans mad, but he reminds me of kind of our version of T. Higgins, right? T. Higgins isn't super fast, but he's fast for his size.
Yeah, exactly. I think that, you know, DPJ is that for us. And then you got David Njoku, who's our big body you can trust typically to go up and catch it, you know, and he's athletic too. So it makes him hard to play against. What we need, in my opinion, is we need that slot receiver. You need a guy who you can kind of kick in on the inside, but also can work on it on the outside. Oddly enough, I actually think that this team would be really great with Jarvis Landry.
Yeah.
Somebody who has pretty good hands, is reliable, not necessarily the fastest, but you can trust to pop up and give you a good result when you need it. I don't know if it's possible, but I think Jarvis Landry would be the perfect guy for this Browns team to finish out this receiver core. Because not only that, but he would also provide such great value as a veteran leader to our younger receivers. I think, you know, and this isn't me saying like I think Andrew Berry made the wrong move in cutting Jarvis. His cap number was way too high. We wouldn't have gotten Amari Cooper if it didn't happen. It needed to happen. But I think as a third option, Jarvis would be amazing. Or a guy like Jarvis. That would
I would
be
even
my
say
ideal.
It ain't gonna happen, but I would love Odell Beckham Jr. back in Cleveland. I really would. Like, just if obviously he's not healthy, that's the number one problem. But if you can get some games out of him with what DPJ has been with Amari Cooper, oh my gosh. I mean, that would be spectacular.
Yeah, but ideally
it ain't happening.
Just one more guy you can trust in there.
Yeah.
I think they're likely going to go for a rook, but I really
Marvin Mims, give me him.
I'll be honest, man. I want a vet. I want a vet in that room. I think if you could find a way to get Jarvis back, do it. I think he would be perfect. But man, we'll see. We'll see. But it's close. It's close. I feel like it's very close. So
yeah, we're getting there. And I think tight end 2 is another position because Harrison Bryant's been disappointing to say the least. But hey, you can figure it out, right? Andrew Berry's figured it out. So
yeah. Well, the other thing for me is I know Harrison Bryant has been great, but I mean, if we're looking to add another receiver to the offense, I mean, maybe just diminish his role a lot, where you're expecting him to get half a target a game. By that, he gets targeted every other game.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, you don't have to give him a massive role. So, but
yeah, I agree. But all right, I think that wraps us up here. Hour and 15 minutes. So I know we didn't really break down any games or preview any games, but at this point, there's really just nothing other than just kind of seeing where things go is kind of where we're at. But
because if I go into these games, this thing's going to get broken real quick. So I'm trying to stay positive.
Yeah. So, all right. I think that wraps it up for us. I might do a Georgia preview, maybe, depending on how sad I am. But yeah, we'll definitely when we do another one, my setup here is going to be a little different. That's a teaser for you. So yeah. But anyway, all right. I hope you all have a great New Year. Hope you had a Merry Christmas, and we will see you guys some point probably next week. So have a good one, guys.
See you guys.